Today's podcast is brought to you by Visa, with the capacity to process over 65,000 transaction messages every second. Visa's been bringing innovations to the way we pay for over 60 years. Imagine a world where, instead of just tapping to pay with your Visa, you had to wait for everyone in front of you to cut a check everywhere you went. Imagine how much fun it'd be trying to track down your cousin in Milwaukee for league dues. That's why Visa's vision is to be the best way to pay and be paid everywhere, so you won't have to. Whatever your goals are, Visa makes paying fast and easy. The only thing left to figure out is, where would you like to be? Visa, everywhere you want to be.
Hey y'all, Uncle Jimmy here. When you speak for yourself, you're forced to think for yourself. And when you think for yourself, the sports world looks different. In order to enjoy this podcast and this show, you need to have the courage to look at the world from alternative points of view and not be offended when you disagree. Speak for Yourself isn't your Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram feed. SFY tells you what you need to hear and not what you want to hear. So, welcome aboard, buckle up, and enjoy the ride.
We start today with two dominant defenses. All right, life is simple, and football explains it all. That's why I love the game and have the utmost respect for what the New England Patriots and San Francisco 49ers are doing this season. Defense still wins championships. Not all the time, but it's the most proven path to consistent success. The NFL's television partners are in love with offense. They think points on the scoreboard equal Nielsen ratings. The league has responded by bending every rule in favor of offense. The refs have been instructed to hand out free first downs if a defensive back touches a receiver beyond 5 yards, if a defender tackles too hard with his helmet, if a defensive lineman falls on top of a quarterback. Within the next 10 years, don't be surprised if NFL rules makers eliminate a defensive position and make it 11 on 10. And don't be surprised if defensive players figure out a way to still shut down offenses. Halfway through the season, the Patriots and the 49ers are dominating the league with their defenses. Bill Belichick's Patriots are allowing the fewest points, an average of 7.6 per game. Kyle Shanahan's 49ers are allowing the fewest yards, an average of 224 per game. You know who's number 2 in points allowed? The 49ers. You know who's number 2 in yards allowed? The Patriots. In a pass-happy league, the Patriots and the 49ers are 1 and 2 in QB passer rating allowed. Opposing quarterbacks have a passer rating of 40.8 against the Patriots and 58.0 against the Niners. More important, New England and San Francisco are a combined 15-0. In the Madden video game era, defense still reigns. I love it. Football is still a man's game. You can stack all the rules against a real man, and a real man is going to find a way to survive and thrive.
Yeah.
This is why I can't stand the constant whining of Odell Beckham Jr. It's like he doesn't understand the game he's playing. Football isn't for whiners, complainers, and victims. It's for men who eat what they kill. The Patriots defense killed the Browns on Sunday. New England cornerback Stephon Gilmore swallowed OBJ, limiting him to 52 receiving yards. The boogeyman defense forced 3 turnovers and scored another touchdown. This season, the boogeymen have scored as many touchdowns, 4, as they have surrendered only 3. The 49ers defense killed the Carolina Panthers on Sunday. San Francisco defensive end Nick Bolsa sacked Carolina quarterback Kyle Allen 3 times in the first half and intercepted Allen in the third quarter. The 49ers won 51-13. It's time those of us in the national media recognize what's transpiring this season and adjust our narratives. This season is being defined by defense, not offense. Bolsa and Gilmore should be the leaders in the MVP conversation. What they're doing is every bit as impressive and important as what Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, and Deshaun Watson are doing. Bolsa and Gilmore are the best players on the NFL's lone undefeated teams. All right. Joining the desk now are Fox Sports NFL analyst James Harrison and LeVar Arrington. Marcellus, I'll start with you.
Yeah.
Better undefeated team, Patriots or 49ers?
The one that has the 12th man named Bill Belichick. That would be the Patriots. And there's going to be matchups in which that 12th man gets to go out there and show his greatness. The first one is the familiarity with the quarterback of the opposing team. And that would be the San Francisco 49ers and having Jimmy G, someone that Bill Belichick knows very well. And Belichick exposes young quarterbacks, inexperienced quarterbacks that he's not familiar with in terms of being in the meeting room and knowing your weaknesses. And this is a quarterback, not only does he see on film, but he saw personally in the same room and had to teach him up, coach him up to get him to this position. That's one. Two, their 12th man, and Kyle Shanahan, who had a big lead when he was the offensive coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl. How'd that turn out? Belichick smiled once again leaving that field. So to me, it's just a simple matchup issue. You can look at it and start going ranking to ranking, play that game, which is going to be comparable on both sides in terms of where it levels out. But when you say the X factor being the coach, the coaching has to go to the Patriots. Therefore, I say they win.
I'm with him. It's nothing I could really add to that. That's the way I feel about it myself. You got 1 and 2, you know, with the defenses going back and forth. But I will say this, the bigger thing about the New England defense is that they're scoring points along with stopping them from scoring. So that's a big point swing that you just can't account for, you know, when you're looking at the whole stats of what 1 and 2 brings to you. And Bill, I mean, Bill is, and you got Bill and you got Brady. You can't never count them two out. Those two on your team, you got a chance.
Yeah, I hate to go with everybody and say the same exact thing because Marcellus and now James has said it, but the reason why I
You're going to be wrong, too. Go ahead.
The reason why I'm going with the Patriots, I don't think I'm wrong. I think we've been pretty good, and Sam Darnold and everybody has seen the same ghost. It's a machine. Yeah. I've been saying it's a machine from day one, but this team, I haven't seen enough of a sample size from the 49ers to give the go-ahead to put them over the New England Patriots, and that would be the only reason why, because if I'm looking at it from purely, you know, the players themselves, that defensive front for the 49ers is as impressive as you're going to see, but I have not seen enough of a sample size to say that I'm comfortable with going with them over what the Patriots have been able to do for decades now.
All right, so I like y'all's points about Belichick. He is the GOAT of all coaches. But Kyle Shanahan is the play caller that had his team up 28-3.
Up.
I get it.
And down.
I get it. but what really blows me away, and I'm particularly from this side of the room, it's LeVar's point. If I'm choosing who's got a better defense and therefore I'm going to make the leap better team, I'm going to start with the front four. These games are decided in the trenches. And San Francisco's front four is like the '85 Bears when it started with Richard Dent and Dan Hampton and that group up front. I think that group, and they're deep, man. They got guys coming off the bench that can make plays. I think San Francisco's front four makes them really difficult and better than this New England Patriots defense. And I know statistically I'm on weak ground, but I think New England's played a weaker schedule and has beaten up a bunch of poor teams and got their stats.
But they've beaten them, though.
No, I know.
They've beaten up on them.
No question. No question. I think as a play caller and quarterback combination, I'll take Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy Garoppolo right now over the aging Tom Brady and Josh McDaniels.
You reaching.
Yeah.
Hard to argue that. I would say that. It's hard to argue that.
I can argue that. I can argue
that. Only thing I have greater than your evidence is my experience. And I've been on the #1 defense that found itself in that feared moment of anxiety that every top defense goes through. We could hold them to 3. We could hold them to 6. We could hold them to 10. But if we don't put up points, we're going to lose, even with our top defense. And you will lose a low-scoring effort more times than not. Don't believe me? We lost in the wild card round to Tennessee with the #1 defense, and it was a low-scoring game. Don't believe just my experience? Of the last 60 Super Bowl contestants, how many you think had top 2 defenses, the San Francisco Patriots? You would think 30 at least, right? 20?
I don't know.
It's lower than that, brother. It's only 10. 1 and 6. So that means you go out there and say you got the best defense all you want. But it doesn't equate to ultimate success like we would think it does. So that's why I'm sitting there hesitant. I've lived through it, and I've seen it by the record that a lot of times you could just get outscored even if your defense is playing a tremendous game.
You can't lean on personnel alone, and that's why I say I would disagree with you. Like, I understand saying you take Shanahan and Garoppolo. Well, I don't understand that actually, but the point I'm making.
Are you watching Brady?
Yes, I am.
Stick on this point.
Yes, I am.
He's off.
He's not Brady-esque, true statement.
Thank you.
But he's still doing a damn good job.
Schematically speaking, Brady does not have to be. See, that's the thing about it. He does not have to be in the narrative of the best quarterback in terms of personnel-wise.
That's not what I'm
output.
We're not talking about him being the best.
Okay.
We're talking about, is he playing at a high level right now? I say no.
He will play at a high enough level, and it's proven he will play at a high enough level when the games matter, when it counts. And that's
don't do that.
That's the sample size I'm going with.
He got worse every single round. Don't do that. I mean, they won.
Whatever it is he's doing, as the quarterback of the team, they're winning.
On that head coach and
there you go.
His abilities to put his players in positions and defenses and offenses so that they can succeed.
Schematically. That's the biggest point here.
James, I can't believe you're saying this because a front four can blow up any scheme. If you got four guys up front that's beating their man up front, I don't care what you draw up. The other team's in trouble, and that's what San Francisco's doing. They don't have to make all the plays. They make it so everybody else can make plays. Richard Sherman's back out here playing at a Pro Bowl level again. And I'm not taking anything away from Richard Sherman, but it starts with that front seven. When you sack a quarterback 7 times, the guys in the secondary start eating again.
Well, it's not like they're playing the top caliber either now.
They're playing a Carolina team this past weekend that won 4 straight and looked like a very good team, and they put a clown suit on them.
They did do them real bad, though.
And that's the best team that they faced. And they faced the team, let's just be respectful.
They played the Rams. They beat the Rams.
A good defense.
The Rams is going down. The Rams are going downhill a little bit.
They beat the Rams.
Not by record. The Rams are not better by record than Carolina, but I understand what you're saying. If you look at it, this is a situation where they didn't have their quarterback, and they gave up 51. So let's not act like that the defense didn't let them down. The Carolina defense let them down when they got to Santa Clara. That was a tough one to really digest. I'm looking at this situation schematically. We got into a Super Bowl where Tom Brady was every single round getting worse in terms of his efficiency, but defensively they shut down a Rams team. I think that's what would happen against a 49ers team. Schematically,
they're going to
figure out that offense like they figure out every other offense that they face in critical moments.
Cal Shanahan is tough to figure out. All right, next question. Who's been more impressive, Stephon Gilmore or Nick Bolsa?
Gilmore. You could throw 6 one hand, half a dozen other. However, I played the end. And I know what it means to have a tremendous game at the end. Go out there and have 4 tackles and 1 sack and do it that week in, week out. Oh, my God, who are you?
No question.
But Stephon Gilmore and what he has to do, there are no games where you can say 0 sacks and that's still okay for Bolsa.
Yeah.
You don't get that luxury when you're a corner. Every game, every way, every situation, we're testing you. And to that point, there have been a couple of games where Nick Bolsa didn't have a sack. Been a couple of games where you saw like, oh, okay, we know he's good. Wow, then he flashes. Stephon Gilmore is so consistently excellent that it's almost forgotten. And they play man up in New England. He's on the best guy. He's like, let's go get it.
Should he be in the MVP conversation?
Should he? Yes, but that's not the conversation that we're going to have because no one's going to give him that nod.
He should be in the MVP.
I don't think he should be. I can't say that he shouldn't, but he won't get into that conversation.
Historic defense, all time, maybe the greatest defense ever, but we can't look at this guy as the MVP. They're undefeated.
Listen, fantasy football has killed everything around here, so let's be honest. But I would give it to Gilmore because, like he said, at the end of the day, if I come around that corner 60 times and I get to the quarterback 3, I'm king. It's nothing you could tell me. The stat line will be amazing. He goes out there and misses on 2 passes. That could be 14 points, you know? So he has to go out there and defend, play in, play out every play, and it's not a chance that he can let up.
I'm going with Bolsa. And I understand what both pass rushing guys, which, I mean, James covered as well. I can guarantee Marcellus didn't do any covering. He was just pass rushing.
I did. I got 2 picks.
You probably. That hook. You played that quick.
I played that scene
fake
flat,
hook.
baby. Give me that.
But when you look at what Nick Bolsa is doing, the reason why I'm going with Nick Bolsa, and Nick Bolsa has to be in the MVP conversation as well, is because even if he's not getting that sack, his impact on the game is pronounced. It's very, very defined at this point in the season. He has an opportunity to impact a play every single play. And that's where I'll say it differs from a corner. You can go away, whether he's man or not. There's still 3 other guys on the field, maybe 4 other guys that the quarterback could possibly go to and say, you know what, like they did with Prime, we're not going at Prime. We're not going his direction. We're going to isolate him, and with Revis, we'll take our chances somewhere else. And that can neutralize, even though it is the presence of Gilmore, and you say, okay, well, if you took that receiver away, that makes them a little bit more handicapped. But with that being said, Nick Bolsa having the ability to get to the ball carrier pretty much every single down is almost the same thing as saying the quarterback touching the ball has an opportunity to impact the game every single down.
One rookie in the history of the NFL has been NFL Defensive Player of the Year, Lawrence Taylor. This dude, Nick Bolsa, has a shot at being the second one. The rookie status of it makes it more impressive to me. Here's a rookie having this kind of impact on the National Football League. Stephon Gilmore, what he's doing is tremendous. I think both of these guys need to be in everybody's top 5 consideration for MVP of the league. Their teams are undefeated. Their teams are being led by their defenses. Again, I would give a slight edge to Nick Bolsa because when I start talking about how impressed, I'm looking at a rookie come in and clown the league this way. It's pretty incredible. I just hope people are willing to come up off this narrative that quarterbacks are the end-all, be-all, and they're the only people that can really drive and lead a team and be that kind of valuable. I'm looking at 2 defensive guys that are doing it.
I would just push back on that.
Yeah.
I
understand that. Believe me, I had a chance to be the MVP of the league at one point in time, but I was only defensive. Peyton Manning ended up winning it that year. At the end of the day, the quarterback is in control of this game. He touches the ball way too much.
Did you watch these games?
I understand.
Tom Brady was in control yesterday more than Stephon Gilmore.
Tom did his job and did not lose the game.
I got you.
Okay.
That's not MVP description.
It's not. I understand what you're saying. I'm not saying Tom is in the MVP race right now either,
so quit saying the quarterback.
Well, then you also should insert, what year are you in the league into an MVP conversation? Because that's how Drew Brees got inserted into a Patrick Mahomes discussion based on this storyline. Instead of saying, hey, are you balling or not? I don't care if you're young or old. Balling or not. And Nick Bosa's balling.
I think
we just know
what it is.
I think the dominance that we're seeing from Aaron Donald has opened up the conversation to look at what Bolsa is doing this year, the things that obviously J.J. Watt has been able to do in years previous too. But I don't think we've seen a guy come out and be as dominant. And no offense, because you're pretty dominant. But the way Aaron Donald did it from the position that he was in. So.
Hey guys, this is Jason Whitlock from Speak For Yourself. Are you ready for what's ahead? You can't always predict the future, but you can game plan for it. Generations of families and businesses have harnessed the power of Pacific to help them reach their unique goals. Whether you need to save enough money to meet your needs, ensure your family is protected, or make sure you don't run out of money, Pacific Life has a variety of financial solutions that can help. Pacific Life counts more than half of the 100 largest U.S. companies as its clients and has been named one of the 2019 world's most ethical companies by the Ethisphere Institute. Protecting what matters most to people for 150 years and counting? That's the power of Pacific. Ask a financial professional about how Pacific Life can help you game plan for the future, or visit pacificlife.com. The Astros have stormed back to take a 3-2 series lead as the series moves back to Houston. Catch Game 6 tomorrow night on Fox. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern. All right, James Harris and LeVar Arrington are back. Time now for a big story presented by Hyundai. Let's move to Houston, where Deshaun Watson was magical again yesterday, pulling off a win over Oakland and throwing an incredible go-ahead touchdown after escaping a sack and getting kicked in the face. The Texans might need even more magic to keep their postseason hopes alive after losing J.J. Watt for the rest of the season with a torn pectoral muscle. All right, the question here is Deshaun Watson good enough to overcome the loss of J.J. Watt?
He's great enough to overcome it, but it's not going to happen. They're not going to make the playoffs.
Not going to make the playoffs?
Not going to make the playoffs. Say it again. Not going to make the playoffs. Say it again. Yes, they're not going to make the playoffs. This is a team that already lost to the Colts when they were fully loaded, if you want to talk about J.J. Watt and the absence of him.
That was a fluke.
I love you, dog. But it's a fluke when they win.
Yeah.
Fully loaded. So what do you think is going to happen when you're not fully loaded and you lose again? What's that called?
Well, it's going to be Deshaun Watson's going to do some magic tricks.
Okay.
Beat the Colts.
Fine. This is not a fluke. The schedule gods. You got the Jags, Ravens, Colts, the team you already lost to, fluke, and Patriots in your next 4. Ooh, that's not going to help. We got a Bills team out there that's playing well enough to make the playoffs. They're going to fight with maybe a Chargers team or some team that we don't see right now at 4-4 that's just going to surge at the second half of the season. But the main thing is J.J. Watt last year came back to form. 16 sacks, as we were talking about before. Oh, J.J. Watt's back. And then they got in the playoff game, and all that good defense, all that good defensive player of the year, what happens? 0 sacks, 7 points. 21-7 loss at home to the Indianapolis Colts. So my point is this, as we were saying, kind of last block bleeding into this one. Defensive impact may not be there in terms of who's the personnel or not. But this Deshaun Watson is amazing. But I think the scheduling guys, and I think the fact that they already have a team in your division that's going to get some gap and separation is going to be why they'll be home in January.
I feel like he's good enough to overcome this. Me personally, because I don't see JJ having one of those JJ Watt-esque seasons and being an impact like he had been over recent history in this year. I believe their defense is only ranked 20th. I think the part where they make hurt the most is in the rush. I think they were ranked higher in the rush, around 7 or 8, something like that. But the offense is the 4th-ranked offense in the NFL. They score points. And you said yourself, defense doesn't really matter. If I can score enough points,
right,
then I can win this game.
James Harrison just said defense doesn't matter.
I said he said that.
I'm sorry.
It came out of his mouth.
James Harrison just repeated.
He said
defense
that.
Doesn't, my head just exploded.
Okay, so when you add that in, I feel like he has the ability to overcome the loss of JJ.
Yeah, I don't think it's overcoming the loss of J.J. Watt. I think that Deshaun Watson is good enough to lead this team, as is, whether it was with J.J. Watt or without J.J. Watt. That's how I'm looking at it. Coming into the season, we felt as though, at least I did, my opinion was that their sack production would go down this year without having Jadeveon Clowney on the team anyway. They're tied for 20th for sacks.
Yeah.
So the outcomes of the game have not really been based upon the impact of the pass rush and the defensive front of this Houston Texans team anyway. So it has been the offense. It has been Deshaun Watson's ability to be resilient enough to make plays in the clutch and the crunch. So I think he was good enough to overcome getting to the playoffs, having J.J. Watt, let alone him not being there.
Well, I'd like the Texans to win the AFC South. I think they're better than the Colts. I think that last game they lost to the Colts, one possession game that was kind of screwy in my opinion. Deshaun Watson is the next iteration to me of Aaron Rodgers. I'm not saying he's going to be Aaron Rodgers, but he's like Aaron Rodgers in terms of he can overcome a lot of obstacles with his athleticism, with his arm, with his intellect. And I think if we were sitting here last year and said, man, the Texans lost their best player, J.J. Watt. That's not true anymore. Their best player is Deshaun Watson, with J.J. Watt healthy. Their second best player is DeAndre Hopkins.
Yes, he is, and he's talented for one.
Yes,
with J.J. Watt. So they lost their third best player. It's going to be tough. I don't want to diminish J.J. Watt, but it's going to be tough. But do I think Deshaun Watson can do it? Can he make enough plays with his arms and legs? Do I think he's ready to elevate himself up into that conversation with the elite quarterbacks? Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing you said is with his legs. That's what you saw on that play where he extended the play with his athletic ability and his legs. You know as well as I do, chasing a quarterback around that has speed and athletic ability that he does and can still throw the ball it's trouble.
Well, it is trouble, but what's also troubling is we're having this conversation spurred off of the injury to J.J. Watt. I'm not trying to put anything out in the universe, but I am going to do my job. There have been injury concerns and issues with Deshaun Watson. You put a little more on his plate, a little more on his shoulders, and then you use those abilities to get behind a porous offensive line despite having its moments this year. And you say, look, we have to do a little more on this side of the ball because of the issues on the other side of the ball where they can't get off the field on third down, 26th rank, or not turning the ball or getting takeaways, 17th rank. That becomes a lot. And if you expose him to harm's way, we have seen him get harmed by being in harm's way. So a team that's already shown that they're better than you in the first outing is going to be there again. And then you see the Patriots, you see the Ravens in the next 4 weeks. It's a lot to overcome.
Let's move to New Orleans, where Drew Brees might have missed 5 weeks, but he didn't miss a beat in his return to the field yesterday, throwing for 373 yards and 3 touchdowns in a dominant win over the Cardinals. The Saints moved to 7-1 on the year, tightening their grip on the NFC South, while only the 49ers have a better record in the NFC. Saints are the best team in football. We had a discussion about who was the best undefeated team earlier in the show. In my view, the Saints are the best team in football.
Oh, so it's not just a question. That's a statement from you.
Yeah, it's a question, but
Okay.
I'm just giving my opinion.
Yeah, I'm going to give you mine.
Yeah,
I'm going to
go
play
ahead.
the hits. It's the Patriots. Stop playing. It's not
Yes.
the Saints. The Saints are playing lights out on defense. They're playing amazing. That gives them a balancing act. We know who Drew Brees is. We know what Sean Payton can do with this offense, and we also know what Bill Belichick will do with a team that has given up 28 points to Houston, 27 to Seattle, 25 to Mitchell Trubisky, and 24 to Jameis Winston. And then you want to see the Patriots in a hypothetical game of football, the Saints and the Patriots. The same Saints team that last year went toe-to-toe, high-scoring affair with the L.A. Rams. And then those same L.A. Rams got into the Super Bowl and saw New England and said, 3 points.
Oh, wow.
So all I'm saying is the transitive property. Let's use A and B, the B to C, the A to C. I'm not so certain that the Saints are the best team in
Belichick
football.
pulled out that glove. You know, you hear that Thor, that glove on him. Yeah, it's definitely the Patriots. Yeah. You got a far better defense, and like I said, the big thing is the defense is scoring. When you're scoring and your offense don't even have to be out there to get points on the board, that's a beautiful.
Are y'all watching the Saints?
Yes.
Yes.
And again, you can point to those numbers that they had without Drew Brees, one of the more efficient quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. Their defense is going to get better with Drew Brees out there. They're going to be more efficient.
You think the Patriots defense isn't going to get better?
When the Patriots defense faces stiffer competition, they'll back up a little bit. And I'm not just dismissing the Patriots defense.
I get it.
Okay.
But it's a little tiny bit overvalued based off schedule.
Yeah.
Sean Payton, Drew Brees, Cameron Jordan, these guys are motivated at a level no one else in the league is. And when you watch them week to week.
You think the Patriots are motivated at a level that no one else is?
Where you get that from?
Not like the
number
Saints.
7, get 7,
Not
to
like the
have the
Saints.
highest
Why?
total of Super Bowls than any other team?
Not like the
And
Saints.
for Tom to actually have 7 all by his lonesome?
Why? Why are they
He
more
got
motivated?
6 live by his life. Because of what happened last year.
Because they got robbed?
Because they got robbed. They are actually on a revenge tour. And, I mean, when you come in and Drew Brees goes down and you don't miss a beat, you just run off 5 straight with Teddy, and Teddy did a nice job, but he's not Drew Brees. This team is on a mission, man. Michael Thomas, I
How did
left
that
him out.
revenge work out the year before when they were saying, oh, man, that last-second touchdown to Stephon
They
Diggs,
got
we're going
robbed,
to get,
man.
and then the next
You
year.
ever been robbed?
Oh, they got
not
it
twice.
back-to-back. I forgot about that.
You remember that? They're back-to-back.
I forgot.
Yeah.
Listen,
I
that
ain't
was
been
because
robbed
of the
in the same
roof,
house
but
twice.
yeah,
They're not even the number 2 team in the National Football League.
You go 49ers
while we're
on
talking
that?
about it,
Yeah.
I have the Niners second and battling it out at number 3 is Green Bay. Since we're talking quarterbacks making a difference and how teams are surging, and now Aaron Rodgers is back in that conversation, I think that Green Bay and New Orleans are fighting it out for that number 3 spot. But right now you got to go Patriots and Niners as the top 2 teams in the National Football League.
I'm going to tell you what y'all missing, man. Seriously. What Drew Brees and Sean Payton believe. Like, they felt like their legacies were hurt last year. They were robbed of an opportunity to get a second Super Bowl and to put themselves in an elite class. Both of them now are sitting there with 1 Super Bowl. Drew Brees is 40 years old. The clock is ticking. Sean Payton is the second best coach in football after Bill Belichick. He needs a second Super Bowl so that everyone gives him that credit. These guys have a motivation, a drive, and energy about this team. When you watch them play, man, and again, go look at their schedule and who they've been beating up. What they did to Dallas without Drew Brees. When their defense needs to play lights out, they play lights out. That's a hell of a defense. I don't care what
Sounds
the
like
stats
you're talking
say.
about the Patriots.
I got confused for a
Close
minute.
my eyes. It's like, oh, they
I got
lost the
confused
Super Bowl.
for a minute.
Okay, but they
Yeah.
feel slighted that they didn't win the Super Bowl. What did they do? Come back and win the Super Bowl.
Thank you.
Right? But that's very different than the New Orleans Saints.
Guess what? There should be no argument here. You do realize Drew Brees is playing better than Tom Brady.
Okay,
That
I'll give
Drew
you that.
Brees
But they're not
and Michael
playing, but
Thomas,
again,
and they don't even have
it's the
Alvin
total
Kamara
He
right
got
now.
Michael
It's the
Thomas,
total
man.
whole.
Think if Tom had Michael Thomas.
That's what I'm talking about. They're better than the
He
Patriots.
just got Muhammad Sanu. Listen,
He just got
they
Sanu.
got
Wait,
some
Sanu get the
players.
plan
They got
down.
He
some
ain't Michael
players.
Thomas.
They
He
got
ain't, but
Gordon.
he
They
gonna
got
do
some
good.
players in New England, man. They're the best
Josh
team.
Gordon is
They were
gone.
gone.
Okay, excuse me.
I'm sorry.
The Patriots
Y'all
got
been on the
players,
same
man.
thing.
They got players.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what
Who
they...
cares if he's
I
gone?
was about to say, why are we
They're good.
How
They're
many
the
times
best.
have the Patriots seduced us with this personnel conversation and we think that they're lesser? And then you get on the field and then you remember they are greater than the sum of its parts, and they do
No
have
question.
great
He
parts.
puts together plans
Man.
that coordinate with his players' talents. I'm telling you right now, we had like 8 different defensive formations. And if he felt like this player did a thing better than the other player, then that player would go in on that set or that
talked
personnel.
about that before.
I'm telling you, this man is very smart.
I
He
get
will
it.
fit his defense to his players instead of trying to make his players fit what he wants to play.
Hello.
Listen, y'all think I'm beating up on the Patriots. I'm not. The Patriots are great.
I know you just love Drew Brees.
No, I just happen to think I root against the Patriots. That's the one bias I have.
Patriot hater.
But I'm not a hater. I just root against them. I'm not trying to disrespect the Patriots. What the Patriots doing is great. I think y'all are sleeping on Sean Payton and Drew Brees and Michael Thomas and Cameron Jordan and what they have going on in New Orleans. That whole
We're not
city,
sleeping on them.
That
He
whole
said they
city's
fighting
on
for
fire.
3.
Yeah, they fight.
no.
3 out of 32 ain't bad.
Yeah, they fighting for 3, man.
Look,
They
tell
fight
me,
for that third
name me the other team that loses their Hall of Fame quarterback and doesn't miss a beat.
Indianapolis Colts, ding, 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 give me $100.
I said doesn't miss a beat. They went 5-0
They get
without
better.
their quarterback.
They look better right now. Can I get $100?
Whoa. Did you catch the key word? No.
Hall of Famer. I know what you said.
Thank you. Hall of Fame. Andrew Luck was not a Hall of Fame quarterback.
His trajectory.
Oh, quit it. Would y'all start? No, it
That
wasn't.
really don't mean nothing.
Nah. At one time, LeVar was on
Here we go.
I gave it to him.
The best thing you do when you're under attack is put it on somebody else. Hey, you know LeVar's trajectory.
Right. James actually lived up to his trajectory.
That's fair.
No, he did.
My
He
trajectory.
exceeded that
He
one.
exceeded
I
that.
was undrafted.
Yeah. Well,
Thanks. LeVar.
he was supposed to be you, James.
That was me. LeVar was supposed to be James.
Whitlock and Wiley, LeVar Arrington is back. We're joined now by Fox NFL analyst Bucky Brooks. All right, let's move to Kansas City, where Aaron Rodgers had another stellar game, beating my Chiefs 31-24 while throwing for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, including a dime to Jamal Williams in the corner of the end zone. Green Bay is now 7-1, and after a slow start, Rodgers has caught fire the last couple of weeks, completing 75% of his passes, averaging 367 yards per game, and throwing 8 touchdowns to 0 interceptions with a passer rating of 152. Wow. All right, does the 7-1 start prove that Aaron Rodgers is still the best quarterback in football?
These loaded questions still. thought the best player at the position was sitting on the sideline watching that game last night. For me, it's still Patrick Mahomes. I'm not about to take shots at Aaron Rodgers, but to highlight Patrick Mahomes, it forces you to take shots at Aaron Rodgers. Patrick Mahomes, in his first full year as a starter, God, people don't understand the climb to becoming who he became as NFL MVP in that short a span. Not just to take on the reins as being a starter, not just being a leader, not just making plays, to historical numbers, 55,000. Aaron Rodgers never even done that. And it's in
5,500.
50 touchdowns, 5,000 yards.
Gotcha.
You understand what I'm talking about?
Now we do.
Yeah. That's a language that even Aaron Rodgers doesn't understand. No one understands that. And Patrick Mahomes did that, I'm going to say it again, in his first year as a starter. So his worst is better than Aaron Rodgers' best. See, I knew it was going to sound like a shot. But just being a real, the moxie, the poise, the ability, the acumen, Aaron Rodgers is amazing. We just saw what's next. We just saw what's now. It's Patrick Mahomes.
I really don't go crazy over passing statistics in this new day and age, and new era of NFL quarterbacks.
Why not?
I really don't.
Why not? They all play by the same rules.
It's very hypothetical to put the greats of the past into the conversation, but if we're talking about right now, I'm going to say no, but I'm not even going to say Patrick Mahomes. I'm looking at someone more along the lines of like a Drew Brees, and I know he's just coming back, but when you look at the amount of players, or even,
game, did you?
Well, I did actually. I did watch it, and I saw the throw he made when he was falling down. It looked like he was throwing it away, and somebody caught it. I think he's in the conversation, but is he does that outright establish him again as the best quarterback in the National Football League? I look at Deshaun, I look at Mahomes in the conversation, but I don't think there's a large enough sample size of Mahomes to just give him best quarterback. And that's my point earlier on about getting
NFL
all of these gaudy
MVP,
numbers.
1 year, one NFL MVP. That's not enough.
No.
Bucky.
No, you got to have longevity.
Okay. Did you properly interpret what happened last night?
I mean, look. He's definitely in the VIP
Don't let him
club.
put that pressure.
He's definitely behind the velvet rope.
Look,
I think he is playing great football. The last 2 weeks we've seen the old Aaron Rodgers show up. I actually believe this has little to do with Aaron Rodgers and more to do with Matt LaFleur. I believe Matt LaFleur has put together an offense that is utilizing all of the weapons. Never before have we seen Aaron Rodgers really utilize the running backs. The running backs hadn't been a major part of the passing game. Who showed up last night? Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones was amazing catching the ball out the backfield. The last 3 weeks, he has been a major factor. Aaron Rodgers now is playing the way that Matt LaFleur envisioned when he took this job, using everything. And because of that, this offense is beginning to roll and flow. And they have a better chance of making it to the promised land than they had before when they just put it all on Aaron Rodgers.
I had high hopes for you, Bucky. Hey, man, so when Matt LaFleur was drawing it up during the offseason, he's like, you know what? We're going to get some wide receivers out of the Canadian Football League, and that's who Devontae Adams is going to be down, and Aaron Rodgers is going to be throwing to guys we don't know who they are. Jimmy Graham, the ghost of Jimmy Graham, is out there playing tight end. And I'm taking no shots at Patrick Mahomes. My favorite football player right now. He plays for my Chiefs. I get it. But Aaron Rodgers last night with no weapons. You know what? I'm going to make the running back a star. You can give Matt LaFleur all the credit you want, but I didn't see Matt LaFleur falling to the ground and throwing a dime to the corner of the end zone. That's Aaron Rodgers.
It was a great catch.
It was a great play.
You still got to
oh, my God. He dropped the ball in his
You still got to run the routes. You still got to catch the ball. What's the percentage?
LeVar, if I drop this right, put your hands out. That ain't hard to catch.
Thank you.
That's not a great catch. That
was a great illustration of the way he throws the ball. And you're right, it did drop into the basket that way, but he still has to catch the ball and he still has to run the route.
I'm looking at it.
I'm sorry. It did look like he's throwing the ball away.
Y'all act like Tyreek Hill's been there all year. Y'all act like Sammy Watkins was there all year, all this whole weapons conversation. Let's just...
Are you looking at McCole Hardman?
All I'm saying is...
Matt Moore go for 300 yards.
Yes. Hold on. Patrick Mahomes was on pace to not only equal last year, but surpass it with his weapons on the sideline in the early parts of the year. And he didn't go out there and have 5 games under 100 quarterback rating as he was starting to learn a new system as Aaron Rodgers did. So when you start to compare the two, there's not really a comparison. You can say the last 2 weeks, but then that's Patrick Mahomes been on the show for the last 2 weeks.
Here's my thought on it, really what it comes down to. You can't – Patrick Mahomes, to me, has a slight arm talent advantage. Aaron Rodgers has an experience advantage that's just – there's a wide gap.
That's age.
I get it.
Okay.
He's been playing a lot. That matters. It
doesn't. Not if you compare them at the same time.
We're talking about teammates making plays.
I think that's so hard because Russell Wilson is balling out of control too.
He is.
Like we're having a golden era of quarterback play, and so I'm not ready to just give the crown to Aaron Rodgers because the last 2 weeks he's played well
previously.
I mean,
and now last night again he's like, "Hey guys, don't forget about me." Did y'all not watch? That was incredible last night.
I mean, it
with
was
no
incredible.
tools.
But why was it on primetime Sunday? Because there was supposed to be another quarterback there.
I agree.
And that quarterback wasn't there, and that quarterback is still better. He's the reigning NFL MVP.
See, they still almost won the game with more.
That because if anything, last night what I learned that system in Kansas City is really nice.
Yeah.
Matt Moore came from, he was coaching across the sideline from me. He went from high school coaching to throwing for 300 yards in Kansas City. It tells me that Andy Reid, given time with any quarterback, he can elevate him to star level. We saw Alex Smith go from being to being a Pro Bowl player under Andy Reid. So I can't necessarily give it to Pat Mahomes. I just believe we have a number of quarterbacks that could vie for that crown, and I'm saying that you can't forget Russell Wilson in that
Which one you giving the crown to? Only one could wear it. They all going to the party. Which one got the crown on?
Cam Newton?
No. Y'all gonna have to apologize to Cam Newton.
No, we don't.
You're gonna apologize to Cam.
Hold on. I just don't understand. Why is it so hard?
I'm just saying, look at what Russell Wilson has done. Russell Wilson deserves to be in the conversation and have a seat because you talk about weapons and lack thereof. I mean, who is he throwing to in Seattle?
Okay, listen.
He's got a couple guys.
I'm not talking.
Lockett.
I'm not talking. Lockett.
DK is big.
DK, are we serious?
No, we're not.
Okay, I was like, come on.
You can't even say who you definitively.
I just said Russell Wilson.
You said in the conversation. You didn't
Russell
say
Wilson. I'm saying Russell Wilson is the best quarterback. How about that?
And here's my issue. Russell Wilson, I got no problem if he wins the MVP.
Yeah.
This is a conversation about who's the best quarterback right now. Aaron Rodgers has the experience. He has arm talent that's only second to Patrick Mahomes. Oh. We keep watching him elevate guys that we had never heard of. Who was Jamal Williams?
Just talking about Deshaun Watson the same exact way in a couple segments before.
Not like this.
You have not even put him in the conversation.
You can put Deshaun Watson.
You have not even put Deshaun Watson into the discussion.
He doesn't have the resume yet.
Neither does Mahomes.
Mahomes has an MVP.
That's an MVP. And Milli Vanilli won the best record of the year. There are one-hit wonders that hit. He's got to show more, and he's got to stay healthy enough to do it.
I'm big in Kansas City, man. A lot of people in Kansas City are
big
watching.
Everywhere, big dog.
Yes, that's correct.
You owe the people in Kansas City an apology.
Where's my camera?
Yeah.
Where's my camera?
Yeah.
People of Kansas City, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Don't talk about Milli Vanilli.
But don't be a one-hit wonder. That's all I'm saying.
Let's move to the Panthers, who got demolished yesterday, losing 51-13 as the 49ers and their defense handed Kyle Allen the first loss of his professional career. Allen also threw his first pick of his career and added 2 more before the game was over, looking like a different quarterback than the previous 4 weeks.
It's all ghost.
His performance was so bad that some people started wondering, Bucky Brooks, when Cam Newton might be back. But Ron Rivera said today that Cam is still in the middle of rehabbing and that Allen would start this week against the Titans. All right, the question here is, think Ron Rivera wants to go back to Cam Newton? I say no.
I agree with you. Not so fast. A large part of Ron Rivera wants to see how Kyle Allen responds to the first adversity he's seen as a losing quarterback on Sunday. This is an opportunity to see a reveal of Kyle Allen in terms of character, in terms of moxie, in terms of ability to respond to that situation. They didn't lose. They got beat down. And everyone was feeling the good mojo of a winning situation with Kyle Allen. He had never lost a game before. Now this is a chance for you to read the situation long-term for when Cam Newton does return and is at full strength. Who do I have in Kyle Allen through the highs and the lows? So if I'm Ron Rivera, I'm pausing on the Cam Newton transition just to read if Kyle Allen is a true long-term fix.
He's not a long-term fix.
I'll just learn.
I've answered it for you right now. And I'm telling you, like, it's the most overblown story that I've ever been associated with when we talk about Kyle Allen replacing Cam Newton. And really, we're not even talking about 5 games because he was undefeated. We're talking about 1 game that really set the bar. The first game when he came in week 3 against the Arizona Cardinals, 19 for 26, 261, 4 touchdowns. Since that moment, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He's only been over 100 his passer rating 1 time in 4 games. Like, I know we like to give away jobs here, but trying to give away Cam Newton's job to a guy who is average on his best day is ridiculous to me. I can't understand why we're having this conversation. If anything, Ron Rivera needs to go to Cam Newton and apologize.
Apologize for what?
Tell big fella to take his time, and when he's ready, the job is yours.
For what,
just for all the disrespect that's been flying out there about Cam Newton in the starting job. He should apologize just for people thinking about he should be replaced by Kyle Allen.
So what you're really saying is I need to apologize, but go ahead. I'm not going to.
Well, they got the Titans coming up and then the Packers. He's certainly thinking about Cam Newton coming back and being the starter of this team. And now I think the question is how long?
We love being wrong.
How long will it take Cam to go through that entirety of his rehab? Because they're going to have those Packers and they're going into Lambeau Field. If you have a healthy Cam and you have a Kyle Allen after you saw what just happened to Kyle against the 49ers, and you just saw what Aaron Rodgers just did last evening, are you confident going in there with Kyle Allen as your starter when you have Cam Newton? So I think he's thinking about it, and I think he's thinking about how quickly will he be back, because in between the Titans and the Packers, I mean, after the Packers, you have the Falcons.
Homecoming. That's homecoming.
They can win that. They can win that game. But here's the problem with that, Bucky. If you don't get him activated in that Packers game and see what Cam can do, after that Falcons game, they have the Saints in New Orleans.
LeVar,
I think that's very difficult.
I've just written down. The game is chess, not checkers.
All right, here you go. And so you beat me in enough chess games to throw that reference out at me.
And look, here's what I'm going to tell you.
Come on.
I'm surprised Bucky didn't bring this up. He's the smartest guy here, but he didn't bring this up because he's a Cam homer.
Okay.
Ron Rivera has one message to sell to keep his job.
A rebuild?
You can't sell it with Cam Newton. We know what Ron Rivera Cam Newton looks like. We know what that looks like. And so when he goes to ownership, well, me and Cam next year we're going to do. And the ownership would be like, can he go to them and say, we got Kyle Allen on the cheap. We can draft a young quarterback. You saw what we did once the chemistry
so you're saying
and the atmosphere.
Play chess and tank the season.
No, it's not about tanking the season.
That's tanking the season.
I'm telling you why he doesn't want Cam back.
Oh, because he doesn't want to go.
So he'd rather lose than have a chance to win.
They're going to the Super Bowl this year.
I'm just saying he doesn't want to go to the Super Bowl like he went with Cam. Because you've seen that.
He can't go into the offseason selling Ron Rivera and Cam Newton. The only
But you can get to the offseason and say, let's get to the offseason and get what we can get out of Cam Newton and then go in a different direction. Why does that have to be a decision now?
If Cam comes back in and plays moderately well, that's a death sentence for Ron Rivera. We got to get a new head coach in here to work with Cam Newton. If Kyle Allen gets him through the rest of the season and they flirt with the playoffs, 8-8, 9-7, whatever, now you can sell that. We got a young quarterback. We can draft a guy. We can go in a different direction. I told y'all that Cam was the wrong chemistry fit. His personality brings this team down. That's the message Ron Rivera can sell, and that's why I think Cam's still rehabbing.
And that's the politics at play. We've seen it happen most recently, Jeff Fisher with the drafting of Jared Goff. It buys you runway. We're selling the future. We're selling hope out here instead of production in the short term. Here's the thing with Cam Newton, why you have to go with the Kyle Allen play to a large degree. Cam Newton coming off 2 shoulder injuries in the last 2 years. Newton in his injury-riddled last couple of years Is the greatest availability? Yes. And not just available on the field, but being yourself while you're on the field. That's the issue. You got other issues with Cam's injury concerns. But the main thing is, if you can play it in today's NFL with the cheaper quarterback and build around it. There have been tons of articles written about.
You still got to pay him.
No, Cam Newton has a $19 million non-guaranteed contract next year.
Marcellus, for the rest of this season.
This year's already gone.
It's not already gone. How do you sell
in
going into
it
the
is.
right? But that's what I'm saying. We're saying the same thing. We're saying the same thing. So what I'm saying, what I'm trying to explain is understanding that it is checkers and not chess, or chess, not checkers. The play with Cam Newton in this situation is ultimately to say, if they are losing games the way that they lost to this 49ers team, how do you sell it to public opinion that this makes sense to not play Cam at all when you know you still have him and he's healthy?
Because
I think you got to play him.
Cam Newton lost 8 games in a row. Cam Newton is not as popular as we think here in Los Angeles. In Carolina, it's kind of played out. Cam's attitude, his leadership style is played out. That's why you're not going to see a bunch of Carolina Panthers talking, we got to get Cam back out there when Cam gets back. They like what they were getting from Kyle Allen.
Until yesterday.
And again,
he gave up 51. Did Kyle Allen give up 51?
Listen,
turnover.
I mean, he was throwing that ball away.
Cam has had 5 games of 3 interceptions or more. So I'm not even trying to do this to Cam. Cam is better than Kyle Allen.
Yes.
But that is not the politics at play here, and I hope you guys will respect that.
So they're tanking the season then?
No, they're not tanking.
They're not going to win with Kyle Allen. They're tanking the season.
They lost 8 in a row with Cam. They won.
So we're going to lose 8 in a row, or maybe however many we're going to lose with Kyle Allen.
You know what? 7 other teams have lost to the 49ers as well. They're not the first.
And they're going to lose to the Saints, and they're going to lose to the Saints again.
I'm just really surprised about the Kyle Allen thing. Like, we've seen this. We've seen these guys that pop
Lucky,
up
we all
and they
agree.
can play a game.
No one thinks Kyle Allen is the greatest thing.
Is this with Cam Newton? If we're going to give his job away because he was hurt, we didn't give Drew Brees his job away. We seen Aaron Rodgers go to the sideline. We didn't give his job away.
We did give Alex Smith's job away.
We're not giving Pat Mahomes' job away. I mean, everyone else gets hurt, they come right back to the start.
They had lost 8 games in a row.
They gave Wally Pipp's job away. Were you mad then?
Wally Pipp. That's what we have. But I'm just saying.
Lost 8 in a row.
I am just saying. A franchise quarterback who has won an MVP and led your team to the Super Bowl.
With a quarterback
he gets
that probably
every
can't lead
opportunity to get his job back, and you have to see what it is. You don't just throw it all away and say, hey, Kyle Allen, we're going to roll with you to the end of the season. Hey, owner, look at what I did with this bad quarterback. Give me another shot. I promise I'll do better. It doesn't work like that.
In the same system where Cam Newton lost 8 in a row, and this guy hadn't lost until yesterday. This guy had a better quarterback passer rating than Cam Newton. Completion percentage is comparable to same.
No, it's not comparable. It's lower than his.
It's lower, 2%.
Yeah,
2%. That's not comparable? I didn't say 5, 10. But your point is, the numbers, Kyle Allen had better numbers in this system than Cam Newton. And he had better win-loss record than Cam Newton.
Bucky, let me ask you this.
Where we going with this?
Can I say my weight is comparable to Darnell's, or is that out of the range?
No,
It's out of the range.
No.
It's going to be comparable.
I don't want you using wordplay to flip the script.
LeVar Arrington and Bucky Brooks are back. Let's move to Foxborough, where Baker Mayfield and the Browns tossed last night's game right into the Patriots' hands with 3 straight turnovers leading to another ugly loss for Cleveland. But he wasn't the only young quarterback to struggle yesterday. Sam Darnold had another nightmare of a game, throwing 3 picks and a loss to the Jaguars just a week after seeing ghosts against the Patriots. Both of these guys are struggling through terrible seasons, with Baker falling off a cliff after a huge rookie year, while Darnold looks more lost than ever. Who are you more concerned about, Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold?
Baker Mayfield. I've always liked Sam Darnold more than Baker Mayfield in terms of.
You almost said fake.
Fake.
You almost said fake.
You said faker Mayfield. That's what you almost
Get caught
said.
up, huh? That Freudian slip.
You almost said it, yeah.
I mean, am I on mic or off mic right now?
Yeah, right.
I can go back to the locker room. Baker Mayfield, just comparison. In terms of tangibles, I would lean Sam Darnold. In terms of intangibles, I would jump and leap towards Sam Darnold. Now, let's talk about situations and what we're really seeing. I don't think either one of these quarterbacks are being properly supported in the situations they're in, especially when you look at a situation with Sam Darnold and Adam Gase. Now, Adam Gase was the coach of the Miami Dolphins, who had a quarterback by the name of Ryan Tannehill, who is now now the quarterback in Tennessee, who suddenly looks like he is a tremendous quarterback. What's changed? We know one thing that's changed, a different situation and system and support. So I'm looking at a Sam Darnold who I'm not going to revise my analysis of because he's in a situation I don't think that's going to support him. And then watching him yesterday, no running game. You watch him yesterday, a situation, the offensive line. It's just a bad situation. So they're both being devalued, but I think Sam Darnold was a better prospect to start. He's the one that's really being disserviced.
Look, I'm worried about Sam Darnold. And I'm going to say this, and I know Darnell is going to tweet this, but I'm going to say it. I'm worried about Sam Darnold being the next Jameis Winston, meaning he is a turnover machine. He was a turnover machine in college. He's continued to be that in the pros. The last 2 weeks, we've seen him give it away 8 times, and you cannot win with a quarterback that consistently gives it with the other team. Now, I know the narrative around Sam Darnold when he came into the league. Franchise quarterback, all the intangibles, he is going to get better. But look, man, you are what your record is. And on the ledger, on his resume, are a lot of turnovers. And I don't know if it's going to change. When I say I worry about him being Jameis Winston, I worry about him being a turnover machine, much like Jameis Winston was when he was at Florida State and continued to be when he entered the league.
Hold on, Darnell. Keep that tweet open because I have to push back on you, Bucky. Jameis Winston has the most turnovers in the league since 2018 when these guys were rookies. You know who's number 2?
Baker
Mayfield. Ain't no damn Sam Darnold. It's the guy, Baker Mayfield. Now, it's not the label we put on him because we got so many other labels to put on him. We question his leadership. We question his ability and accuracy. But if you want to start line item issues, Baker Mayfield has more line items than Sam Darnold.
And it's a process of elimination for me on this. You look at the Browns situation, I think that Mayfield has more of an opportunity and moving forward to possibly resurrect what's going on right now. I don't see that for Sam Darnold. I don't see the support, as you mentioned. I don't see the structure in place or the development. I don't see the development in Baker Mayfield as well. So it's looking at it from process of elimination. Who has more weapons? Cleveland. Who may have more time based upon what their reputation is currently in the league? Cleveland. Who has the bigger spotlight on them? You may think Cleveland, but you're in the largest media market, so it's Sam. Right. So everything is against Sam Darnold to have any type of real progress and success where he currently is sitting. So you'd have to put the concern more on Darnold than on Baker.
Yeah, I agree about the Darnold deal. Adam Gase's rise to a head coach was because he and Peyton Manning really hit it off. Seriously, that's his key. Yes. You know, there's some guys that are head coach because they knew Sean McVay. Adam Gase is a guy that's a head coach because Peyton Manning really liked him. And that's great, but that doesn't mean you have the chops to be a head coach. And that's where my concern for Sam Darnold is. With Baker, man, he's got 2 of the most talented wide receivers in football. He has a young running back in Nick Chubb and another one in Kareem Hunt on the way. Baker's problems are more easily fixed, I think, than Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's in a bad organization, led by a bad head coach, bad offensive line. I don't see the weapons on the outside. And, you know, I was never that high on him in college. You know, Cowherd and some of these other guys were anointed.
It's crazy. Lamar Jackson is the best quarterback in that class. And I know that pains you, but the wide receiver...
Pains who?
Probably pains you because you're not really a Lamar Jackson fan.
It doesn't pain me. You got to remember, he went to the better situation. When you get drafted at the bottom of the draft, you go to a good team.
I'm just saying the wide receiver is the best quarterback in the class. Lamar Jackson.
Well, Bucky.
And at some point, we're going to have to acknowledge that.
Oh, what you mean acknowledge that? That's I got pom-poms when it says Lamar Jackson every time you say it. That said, these 2 situations, Y'all forgetting that Baker already has it all, except Freddie Kitchens, who certainly is above his head in terms of.
Yeah.
I've never seen somebody say, hey, you know what, we're going to punt this ball. We're going to get a penalty. You know what, we're going to go for this. Yeah. I mean, it's next level.
Greg Williams should be their head coach.
Right. But everything else in terms of when we get on this field, can we mix this up and make this happen? It's already there for Baker Mayfield, and this is what we're seeing, regression. Sam Darnold has no ingredients, and we're talking about it doesn't taste good. Well, wait till he gets some ingredients. This may be a long play. Tape this, and we'll come back to this. Circle back in a few years when Sam Darnold is properly supported.
Bucky, are you back tomorrow?
I'm back on Wednesday.
Oh, it's got a big week. New England is playing Lamar Jackson. We're going to talk
Best
about
quarterback
that.
in the class.
All right. Darnell.
Sorry.
I know the Browns Patriots was one of the Super Six matchups. Did anyone win the big prize?
Not this weekend. Terry Bradshaw can breathe a sigh of relief. No one won the jackpot, but there were 4 guys who actually walked away with some cash in their pockets, so congrats to them. So make sure you download the Fox Sports Super 6 app, play for free for a chance to win.
Uncle Jimmy's here to help us talk about our approval ratings for Nick Bolsa, starting San Francisco 49ers. All right, before you go ahead and give Marcellus Big Dummy of the
I
Day.
ain't do anything today.
Hey, man, big dummy of the day.
Perfect day.
Go to the person that went to their closet and picked out their Easter suit knowing damn good and well it's damn near Halloween. You gonna wear your Easter throwback.
Wrong holiday, bruh.
All right, let's talk about Nick
Oh,
Bolsa.
ain't got nothing to say about that.
What you worry about that boy?
Who was dominant yesterday with 3 sacks and an interception in the 49ers win over the Carolina Panthers.
Very right.
But his brother Joey
You ain't.
is having quite a season for the Chargers as well. In fact, both Bolsa brothers have 7 sacks and 12 tackles for loss this year. Marcellus, who's the better Bolsa, Nick or Joey?
I'll take the one you don't want because there's no losers. But look, I would slightly lean towards Nick because he had that little brother syndrome where you've seen your brother do it all, and then you could just add your own little magic to it and make it different. But I'm going to lean harder towards Joey. Chargers love 1. 2, the Chargers not playing as well as 49ers, so that means they don't have those leads, so those sacks are harder to come by. It's Joey Bolsa. See that? Mouthful.
Yeah, Joey's had 1 extra game, so I would lean towards Nick. Uncle Jimmy, you have any thoughts on the Bolsa brothers, the first family of defensive football?
I figured that's where you was going. I figured that's going. You talking about them Bolsa boys like they the first family of football.
Yeah.
They ain't. Neither are the Mannings, the Lux, or them other Watt boys. Let me tell y'all
Watt
something.
boy, you talking about J.J. Watt and T.J.
Yeah, them Watt boys. That's what I said.
Oh, okay.
What about
my
the
bad.
Matthews family?
Look here, let me tell y'all something. James Brown is the original patriarch of the NFL.
James Brown.
James Brown is one of the hardest working patriarchs in football. He's one of the hardest working men on the stage and in the sheets.
What?
Now look here. If you know your football, if you know your history, all you gotta do is just tell it like it is.
Yeah. All right.
You know, the real first family of football is the Browns.
Who?
You get it?
Jim?
What?
Look here, man. Everybody know right now. Look, football is 79% Browns. And y'all know the Browns I'm talking about. Jim, Tim, and them.
Jim, Tim, and them.
Who's this?
Jim, Tim, and them. Look here, man. Jim Brown was running barefoot through the snow before it was fashionable.
What?
He was one of the first brothers to ever hit a ski slope.
No cleat.
If you know what I mean. Y'all better go ask Raquel Welch. now, Tim Brown, great wide receiver.
Yeah.
Only fault I can find with him was that he played for the Raiders. Just a good kid brought up on the wrong side of the streets. Now, the baby boy, now that was the one that had them eyes that went in 2 different directions. That's Antonio Brown. That's the one that wasn't right. Now, he was the most talented and the most misunderstood.
Yeah.
And the NFL just didn't know how to use him, so that's they lost.
So Jim Brown is their father? Is that your...
Yeah.
James Brown is the father. Jim Brown's the older brother.
James Brown is Jim Brown's daddy?
Yeah, he had him when he was 12. Now, all of his kids wasn't successful. He had that one little fat mulatto kid that liked to try to kick the football, Charlie Brown. He wasn't successful.
Oh, man.
I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah.
Then the one that always got in trouble, O.J. Brown Simpson. He was the original slashback, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, stop it.
And all of these were sired by the great James Brown. As a matter of fact, he had so many of them, they named the whole team after him. They was called the Browns. You ain't never heard of a team called the Bolsas.
That's true.
That's because the Bolsas ain't never done nothing compared to the Browns.
The Cleveland Bolsas, huh?
Hey, matter of fact, let me tell you something. I'm telling you something. Y'all say I'm a mess. Hey, one time, kiss myself, because I taste so damn good. That's because that's how it happened like that. Zoobie-doo. Come on now, what you talking about?
I'm talking about my approval rating for Nick Bolsa.
Love myself.
Moved him up to a 76 All-Star. Job performance is perfect. Moved him up an all-time greatest, 76 All-Star.
That's kind of low for the NFL MVP, as you were saying in the A block. Candidate, an All-Star. He barely making a Pro Bowl on your ratings. I got him at GOAT status. Should be in the MVP conversation. We'll fall short because we're going to give it to a quarterback, certainly. But America.
Internets agree with me. 65% have him an All-Star.